Hello friends, my topic today is with regard to Money Laundering Act. What is the actual meaning of money laundering? Money created by crimes when converted into white money, it is known as money laundering. The main object of prevention of Money Laundering Act is prevent money laundering as well as to provide for confiscation of the property either derived from or involved in money laundering. What is money laundering actually is? Money and crime related to each other. Crimes are done because lot of money involved in it. Money created by crimes when converted into white money, it is known as money laundering. In simple words, money laundering refers to converting illegal earned money into legitimate money. Those who commit the underlying criminal activity may attempt to launder the money themselves, but increasingly a new class of criminal provides laundering service to the organized crime. Criminals want their illegal funds laundered because they can then move their money through society freely, without fear that the funds will be traced to their criminal deeds. In addition, laundering prevents the funds from being confiscated by the police. This is what money laundering is. And the objective of this act, which came into force in the year 2002, Money Laundering Act, is to prevent and control money laundering, to confiscate and seize the property derived from individual in money laundering, to provide punishment for offences of money laundering, to appoint the adjudicating authority and appellate authority to deal with the matters connected with the money laundering, to put obligations on the banking companies, financial institutions and intermediate to maintain records, to deal with any other issues connected with money laundering in India. This act extends to throughout India. Process of money laundering. Money laundering has three processes in itself. First is placement, second is layering, and third is integration. The first step involves introduction cash into financial system by some means that called placement. The second involves carrying out complex financial transactions to camouflage the illegal sources, that is called layering. Third is the final step entails acquiring wealth generated from the transaction of the illicit funds, that is called integration. So the first stage is placement stage. Placement stage represents the initial entry of the dirty money, proceeds of crime into the financial systems. Generally, this stage serves two purposes. It relieves the criminal of holding the guarding large amount of bulk of cash. It places the money into the legitimate financial system. It is during the placement stage that money launderers are the most vulnerable to being caught. Second stage is layering stage. Layering stage is the most complex and often entails the international movement of the funds. The primary purpose of this stage is to separate the illicit money from its sources. This is done by the sophisticated layering of financial transactions that obscure the audit trail and sever the link with the original crime. During this stage, for example, the money launderers may begin by moving funds electronically from one country to another, then divide them into investments placed in advanced financial options or overseas markets, constantly moving them to elude detection, each time exploiting loopholes or discrimination in legislation and taking advantage of delays in judiciary or police cooperation. And the third stage is integration stage. In the final stage, the money is returned to the criminal from what seems to be legitimate sources, having been placed initially as cash and layered through a number of financial transactions. The criminal proceeds are now fully integrated into the financial system and can be used for any purpose as they wish. And there are many different ways in which money can be integrated back with the criminal. However, the major objective at this stage is to reunite the money in a manner that does not draw attention and appears to result from a legitimate source. For example, the purchase of property, artwork, jewelry, or high-end automobiles are common ways for laundering to enjoy their illegal profits. Impact of money laundering or development of any country. Impact of money laundering or development is given below. The main subject is impact of money laundering on development. Increased crime and corruption. Successful money laundering helps to make criminal activities profitable. If money laundering is prevalent in a country, it generates more crime and corruption. It also enhances the use of bribery. Damaged reputation and international consequences. A reputation as a money laundering or terrorist financing could cause significant adverse consequences for development in a country. Foreign financial institutions may decide to limit their transactions with institutions from money laundering havens. Even legitimate businessmen and enterprises from money laundering havens may suffer from reduced access to world markets or access at a higher cost due to extra scrutiny of their ownership, organization and control system. The third is weakened financial institutions. Money laundering and terrorist financial can harm the soundness of a country's financial sector as well as stability of individual financial institutions in multiple ways. Compromise the economy and private sector. Money launderers are known to use front companies, business enterprises that appear legitimate and engage in legitimate business but are in fact controlled by criminals. These front companies commingle the illicit funds with the legitimate funds in order to hide the ill-gotten proceeds. Fifth one, damage privatization efforts. Money laundering threatens the efforts of many countries to reform their economy through privatization. These criminal organizations capable of outbidding legitimate purchases of former state-owned enterprises. When illicit proceedings are invested in these manners, criminals increase their potential for more criminal activities and corruption, as well as deprive the country of what should be a legitimate market-based tax-paying enterprises. These are the things that are been very much important. And prevention of money laundering in India, what India has taken initiative. The prevention of money laundering was introduced in Parliament in the year 1998. The bill received the assent of President and became Prevention of Money Laundering Act in the year 2002. Despite the deleterious impact of money laundering on development, it has of late assumed alarming proportions and its growth has been cancerous. Economies with growing or developing financial centers but inadequate controls are particularly vulnerable to money laundering as against the establishment financial centers countries which implement comprehensive anti-money laundering regimes. The gaps in a national anti-money laundering systems are exploited by launderers who tend to move their network to countries and financial systems with weak or ineffective countermeasures. As with the damaged integrity of an individual financial institution, there is a damping effect on foreign direct investment when a country's commercial and finance sector are perceived to be subject to the control and influence of organized crime. One difference between the official borrowing and laundering funds is that the former can be controlled by government, whereas the fund owned by criminals escape the government's ability to control and regulate the economy. In times of declaring growth, an infusion of hard currency can bolster a country's foreign reserves, ease the hardship associated with budget tightening policies, and moderate foreign indebtedness. While these are short-term benefits associated with an inflow of criminal monies, the long-term effects are most negative. The possible social, economic, and political effects of money laundering, if left unchecked or dealt with ineffectively, are serious. Through the process of money laundering, organized crimes can infiltrate financial institutions, acquire control of large sectors of the economy through investments, or offer bribes to public officials and indeed governments. Thus, the economy and political influence of criminal organizations can weaken the social fabric, ethical standards, and ultimately the democratic institutions of the society. Section 3 of Money Laundering Act, Offence of Money Laundering, speaks about whoever directly or indirectly attempts to indulge or knowingly assists or knowingly is part or actually involved in any process or activity connected proceeds of crime, including its concealment, possession, acquisition, or use and projecting or claiming it as untainted property, shall be guilty of offence of money laundering. And what is punishment for money laundering is Section 4. Punishment with rigorous imprisonment for 3 years, which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to fine. However, where the proceeds of crime involved in money laundering relates to any offence specified under Narcotic Drugs and Substance Act 1985, the punishment may extend to rigorous imprisonment, which may go to 10 years instead of 7 years. And one who involves in money laundering, whether his properties can be attached